السلام عليكم ورحمة الله. الحمد لله رب العالمين، والصلاة والسلام على أشرف المرسلين نبينا محمد وعلى آله وصحبه أجمعين. We continue inshallah ta'ala with Surah Yasin, and I ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to make the Quran ربيع قلوبنا ونور صدورنا, the spring of our hearts and the light of our hearts, and to benefit from it inshallah ta'ala. We'll go through inshallah 3 verses in Surah Yasin where we stopped, verse number 48 to 50. 48 to verse number 50 in Surah Yasin. So open your Mus'haf inshallah, and we'll start with the recitation. أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم. ويقولون متى هذا الوعد إن كنتم صادقين. ما ينظرون إلا صيحة واحدة تأخذهم وهم يخصمون. فلا يستطيعون توصية ولا إلى أهلهم يرجعون. ويقولون متى هذا الوعد إن إخفاء إن another إخفاء كنتم صادقين. ما ينظرون is also إخفاء, and as you see how the غنة in the إخفاء is different from one letter to the other, because it takes kind of the shape with the sound of the letter that comes after the noon. So if the letter is light, the غنة is light. So كنتم sounds light. ينظرون, the غنة sounds heavy. ما ينظرون إلا صيحة, تنوين after the واو, صيحة واحدة, إخفاء also, واحدة تأخذهم وهم يخصمون. يخصمون شدة on the صاد. فلا يستطيعون, تاء طاء light and heavy, توصية, تنوين after the واو, ولا 45 counts, إلى 45 counts, أهلهم يرجعون. The translation of the ayat, and they say, when will this promise be fulfilled if you are truthful? They await only but a single sayha, which will seize them while they are disputing. Then they will not be able to make bequest, nor they will return to their family. And then afterwards it talks about the day of resurrection and blowing in the trumpet and so on. So after what the evil statements of the disbelievers were mentioned and disputing the ayat of Allah, the signs of Allah that are so clear to them, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says also something that they say, وَيَقُولُونَ مَتَى هَذَا الْوَعْدُ إِن كُنتُمْ صَادِقِينَ. And this is repeated in the Quran. The same concept, that متى هذا الوعد, when is this promise? Right? In Surah Yunus it's mentioned, ويقول متى هذا الوعد إن كنتم صادقين. Surah Al-Anbiya, Surah Al-Naml, Surah Al-Sajdah, ويقول متى هذا الفتح, Surah Saba and Yasin, and even Surah Al-Mulk. So this is something that is repeated throughout the Quran, and every time there is a different answer to this, to establish the matter of Aqidah and the evidence to be established upon these people. وَيَقُولُونَ, and they say, مَتَى هَذَا الْوَعْدُ, when is this wa'd, when is this promise, if you are truthful? The promise that is mentioned here is about the day of resurrection and the punishment of Allah versus the rewards from Allah. And that's what the disbelievers are always, because they disbelieve in this. So they say, when is that? and they look at their life that they live in, and since there's no punishment, they continue to disbelieve, they continue to commit sins, and they don't see the punishment is happening right away. So they say, when is that? They say that out of mockery and things like this. And as we see how the message of the Quran, and we just talked about that in the verses in Surah Al Imran, that this is the ways of the disbelievers. They're always in haste. But the rewards or the wages or the recompense is in the hereafter. That's what Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala created this life versus the hereafter. And that's what also, as Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says about the disbelievers, يَسْتَعْجِلُ بِهَا الَّذِينَ لَا يُؤْمِنُونَ بِهَا. Those who disbelieve in it, they are in haste. They're asking for it because as a way to make mockery of the truth. And the believers, they're مُشْفِقُونَ مِنْهَا. They are fearful of it. They're seeking rewards from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So وَيَقُولُونَ مَتَى هَذَا الْوَعْدِ إِن كُنتُمْ صَادِقِينَ. The next ayah, مَا يَنظُرُونَ إِلَّا صَيْحَةً وَاحِدَةً تَأْخُذُهُمْ وَهُمْ يَخِصِّمُونَ. Which means basically they're not waiting for anything except, and that's basically what's going to happen to them. صَيْحَةً وَاحِدَةً. صَيْحَة is one, واحدة. صَيْحَة, shout, which is basically the hour when it's established. تأخذهم, seize them. وَهُمْ يَخِصِّمُونَ, and while they're not aware of it, while they're not paying attention to it. When we'll talk about that also when we talk about the words of what it means. But يخصمون from al-khusuma, when you have a dispute, right, or arguments, right? So وهم يخصمون, while they're just disputing with one another. So whether they disputing in all of what they do in this life. So this is how Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala mentioned, and we'll talk about that. But ما ينظرون إلا صيحة واحدة. Basically, this is what they're waiting for, which is the first blow in the trumpet. And the first blow in the trumpet, people will be in their markets. They'll be talking and acting. And يخصمون, that means they're arguing with one another, like the daily life. People they're going on with their daily livelihood matters. Some people are fighting, some people are arguing, some people are selling their goods, all kinds of things. And while they are like this, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will command Israfil to blow in the trumpet, that none on the face of earth will be alive. Everyone their life will be taken away. Those who were present, or those who will be present at the time when the first blow in the trumpet will be. And then the second one, when everybody will be resurrected and they will all return to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And for those who are, before that, the moment of death comes unto them. So they will face the punishment. So this is what's going to happen to them. مَا يَنظُرُونَ إِلَّا صَيْحَةً وَاحِدَةً. The reminders, the revelation from Allah is not sufficient for them till they see it with their own eyes. And when they see it with their own eyes, it's too late. فلا يستطيعون توصية ولا إلى أهلهم يرجعون. They won't be able to make وصية because it's so swift and so fast. فلا يستطيعون توصية. And the matter is such a serious one that they won't even make any bequest or any وصية or advice or anything. ولا إلى أهلهم يرجعون. And they won't return to their families. So, and even the hadith of the Prophet ﷺ of how the people would not even have a chance to do anything. So this is what's going to happen to them, and this is what's the reality of this life. فلا يستطيعون توصية ولا إلى أهلهم يرجعون. And then after that it talks about the hour and the day of judgment. And that's all lessons for people to learn, and for people to be obedient to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and to pay attention to what they need to be. When we look at the words, وَيَقُولُونَ مَتَى هَذَا الْوَعْدِ. They say مَتَى هَذَا الْوَعْدِ, and الوعد is the promise, from واو عين دال. الوعد, or the promise, can be either for something good or something not good. Right? You can, so the promise is whether it's, usually when people say, I promise you this, that means it's in good matters. But in the Quran, the word wa'ad is used for both. Even though some they so differentiate between al-wa'd in good and wa'd with evil, they call the other one with evil wa'id. Wa'id, if it's mentioned, it's very exclusive for evil. So that's why when the ulama, they say ayatul wa'id. The ayat that has the wa'id, al-wa'id is the warnings, is to the disbelievers, to the sinners. But the word wa'd can have both meanings together. وَيَسْتَعْجِلُونَكَ بِالْعَذَابِ وَلَا يُخْلِفُ اللَّهُ وَعْدَهُ. They are in haste with the punishment, and Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala would not break his wa'd. You know, the wa'd, the promise of Allah, is the truth. So this is basically in the context of wa'id or punishment. النَّارُ وَعَدَهَا اللَّهُ الَّذِينَ كَفَرُوا. The nar, the hellfire, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala promised it to the disbelievers. So here wa'd and not wa'id. Right? So this is, again, when is this wa'd? Because the Prophet ﷺ would call them to Allah and warn them of the hereafter, the punishment in the hereafter, and also tell them that if they believe, they will be rewarded in the hereafter. إن كنتم صادقين, if you are صادقين, truthful. ما, not, ينظرون, they're not awaiting for anything from نظرة. نظرة is to look, but another, whether it's to look or to wait, depends on the context of things. Right? So ما ينظرون is like when you're looking for something, waiting for it. ما ينظرون إلا, they don't wait except, which gives again exclusive meanings. إلا صيحة, صيحة, shout. And it's mentioned in the surah about how the punishment of the people was one صيحة, one shout that is sufficient for them to die. Imagine such a loud voice that will cause people to die. How severe that is. From صاد يا حاء. إلا صيحة واحدة. One from واو حاء دال. تأخذهم, takes them, from أخذ, and he refers to the meaning of seize them. وهم, while they يخصمون, disputing. Right? And this is, as you see here, it's given with the shadda so that it shows how they will be in such indulged into this. Whether it's quarrelsome, whether it's debating, whether it's, you know, al-khasm, al-khasman, khasiman, تختصمون, like this. هم يخصمون. فلا, so they would not be, فلا يستطيعون, from طاء واو عين, they won't be able to. توصية, توصية is to make a will, to make a bequest, because the matter is the end of things. ولا إلى, and they're not also going to be to their families, أهلهم, their people, their أهل, يرجعون, return. And when someone is taken swiftly, so there is no return. And the families are the ones that are the most, that a person is attached to in this life. And these are the things that when a person think of leaving this life, a person gets all kinds of different feelings and emotions, one of which is that people would miss one another. And the Prophet ﷺ, he was told by Jibreel ﷺ, Ya Muhammad, أحبب من شئت فإنك مفارقه. Love whoever you want to love, one day you will depart from them. So only the believers will return to that relationship, they will be reunited. But with the disbelievers, the relations in this life will be severed. They will curse one another if they enter the hellfire. And that's what also all kinds of actions to be applied as a result of this, and that is to be patient with the deen of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and to have the fear of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala with regards to these matters. So this concept is repeated in the Quran many times, where the disbelievers, they are in haste as a way of making mockery of the truth and the believers. And the believers, they benefit from the wahy revelation from Allah, so they take actions before things happens. And the disbelievers, they believe only when they see, when it's too late, which is the moment of death, the day of judgment. And at that, there's no return to this life. There is no benefit of that regret whatsoever. So we ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to benefit us and to make us among those who are steadfast on the deen of Allah. طيب, barakallahu feekum. We'll stop here inshallah, and we'll continue inshallah ta'ala next time. وصلى الله وسلم وبارك على محمد وصحبه وسلم. السلام عليكم ورحمة الله.